B'shat tova muslachat. We're starting another shura mesilat yesharim, especially right a week before Lag BaOmer. That's next week. Thursday is Lag BaOmer. And this coming Sunday is Pesach Sheni, Hilulay Rabbi Meir Bal Hanes. Zachuto yagen aleinu. B'shat tova muslachat. So we got page 75, chapter 4, Zehirut, how to acquire Zehirut, Derech Knyat HaZehirut. So many of us, we think Torah is what we know, which is knowledge. But Hachamim, they explain that Torah is divided into two parts, Misvot and Midot. Misvot are the laws, rules, and regulations. And Midot means morality, behavior, sifat, akhlaqiyat. So we have Misvot and we have Midot. So Misvot, you don't need to acquire, you don't need to own it, you don't need to kind of have any ownership. Mitzvah of Pesach comes, you do the mitzvot, and next you go to Shavuot. You have Bezrat Hashem tefillin, you put on tefillin, you're done. So mitzvot are for to be done, but midot are to be acquired. For example, when I put on tefillin in the morning, I don't have to have the tefillin at night again. When I eat masa by Pesach, I don't have to eat masa by Shavuot. Mitzvot are for certain time that I do and I fulfill. But midot, behavior, manners, morality, I cannot have it once a week, sometimes, whenever I like, whenever I feel good. And I cannot just, for example, be patient in the morning and angry at night. Midah of patience, which is sablanut, is 24/7. I have to acquire it. I have to own it. So therefore, Ramchal Haram Moshe Chaim Nosato, which again soon is going to be his yortzeit. Ramchal yortzeit, because that is going to be a week after, 4 days after Lag BaOmer. 4 days after Lag BaOmer, which this year is May 22nd. May 22nd is, I believe, is it May 22nd? I know it's Sunday. Is it Ramchal May 22nd? Anyway, is few days after Lag BaOmer is Yortzeit of Ramchal. Sorry, a week after, I think. Anyway, so Ramchal in mesilat yesharim on the chapter 4 that we are, he says, okay, Zehirut is good, but you have to acquire it. You have to have a kinyan. To explain certain ways that how we should care about Zehirut, to be vigilant and careful. So page 75. וכבר לא היה מקום לפיתוי זה להם לולא היו רואים אמיתת העניין. And Ramchal explained that unfortunately, when it comes to Gashmiut, when it comes to physical world, we want the best. But when it comes to the spiritual world, to Ruchniut, we're okay with the minimum. We don't want maximum. we think is good. Why not? Of course, it's good to be Jewish, it's good to be Orthodox, it's good to keep mitzvot, but not maximum. We're okay with the minimum. So he says, why? Because unfortunately, we don't see the truth. We don't see the truth. And this is how the Satan comes and tricks us. Make us sameach b'chelko, satisfied with the minimum mitzvot. But when it comes to gashmiot, we need to top off the line. So Rabbi David Yosef, which I think this Shabbat is going to be in Great Neck, son of Rabbi Ovadia Yosef, he explained that once the Ashir invited him to his house to put the mezuzah. So he says, okay, let me check it out. How many mezuzah you need? Okay, this door, that door, this, that. And after doing so many things, so the rabbi says, okay, you need this amount of mezuzah. He said, this amount of mezuzah, how much is the cost? He says, this much. He said, this much you want to charge for the mezuzah? So he said, hold on. Didn't you just, I just asked you about you just explained to me how special are your kitchen cabinets. They came all the way from Africa, and there's a special wood, and there's a special this, a special handle, a special screws, and a special clothing, and this and that. Say, yeah. Says, why? You could have taken regular wood, this, that. Says, no, Rabbi, this is how come when it comes to gashmiut, your house decoration, you have to have the best top of the line, big money. But when it comes to mezuzah, you want a minimum, something regular. And this is the Maaseh Satan that takes away the priority from us, that we don't know really what is important, what is more important, and what is less important. Tafel ve'ikar. So it says, Ramchal, all this happens because we don't know the truth. Amitat ha'inyan. אבל לפי שאין מבקשים אותו והולכים ושוגים לרצונם, הנה לא יוסר מהם פיתוים. And the reason that unfortunately we stay in our dream and we don't wake up to know the truth, because ein mevakishim oto. We don't go after it. We don't want to know the truth. We don't study. We don't do our research to see really what is the right path in life to choose. Since we are happy with this type of dreaming in life, and we don't want to wake up, we never find the truth. We never find out what is right, what is wrong, and unfortunately, we continue with our mistakes. We continue with our wrong decision in life. So therefore, Ramchal says, before you want to help someone, before you want to show him the way, first open his eyes. As much as you tell him, listen, you see that gas station, you make a right over there, you go from that corner. He says, sorry, I don't know, but I don't see what you're explaining to me. Therefore, we praise Hashem that Hashem is Pokeach Ivrim. Hashem is the one who opens our eyes, and also Matir Asurim. Hashem is the one who frees us from hostage. First, Pokeach Ivrim. So Ramchal says, unless we don't wake up or open our eyes, we don't see the truth. And unless we don't see the truth, we cannot change lane, we cannot change direction, and we cannot acquire zehirut, to be careful of what to do and what not to do. So therefore it says, Ramchal hinelo yusar mehem pituyam ad hazman asher lo yo'il lahem kelo ye'od beyadam letaken et shihat. And unfortunately, at the end, he's gonna bump into a dead end, and then he will realize, that was the wrong direction, that was the wrong street, or wrong behavior, wrong midut, which I had. Unfortunately, the result is negative. But that's already late, because he got into the depth of his mistake that he cannot even return or make it up. Ad hazaman asher lo yo'il lahem. They won't wake up until, which is late already. Because they have no other ability or chance or opportunity letaken, to fix, to make up et asher shihatu, to what they destroyed. So the only way that Hashem can save us, or we could save ourselves from this disaster, when we are zahir, when we have zahirut, when we have careful, we are careful, we are vigilant to see exactly what is here. So therefore, an American tourist, for example, and an Israeli tourist, when they go to Israel, which one you think is more careful and vigilant about the surrounding in the street or in the bazaar or in the shuk, what's going on? Which one is more careful? Which one is more alert? Which one is more kind of prepared? The Israeli guy or the American guy? Exactly. Since the Israeli guy, he's familiar with the situation, he has kind of experience or information ahead of time what's going on, what suddenly might happen, is more careful. But the American, he never had this type of threat or this type of pressure in the market or this and that. They just go freely, calmly, shopping, this, that. Same thing here talks about our life. We cannot acquire Torah, kinyan of Torah, if we don't acquire midot. And the first thing is zehirut. That's why from Pesach till Shavuot, which is 7 weeks, we read in this week's Parasha Emor, Usfartem Lachem, that we have to count. It's not that we say, you know what, 6th of Sivan is Shavuot, everyone should celebrate. Hashem says you have to look forward. You have to count down or count forward towards the Shavuot. you bringing out your Shavuot. It depends how much you look for and how you count. And what we do, Pirkei Avot, Musar. Why? Because Derech Eretz Kadma Torah. The midot, by having midot, we could acquire Torah. But first we have to acquire midot, and that's possible through what? Through Zehirut. And this is what Shlomo Melech says in Kohelet. Kol asher timsayat chal la'asot bechochaha aseh ki ein ma'aseh v'cheshbon v'da'at v'chokhma bishol asher ata holech shama. As much power you have, as much as knowledge you have, use it. Why? Because there is no more heshbon, v'da'at, v'chokhma, v'maaseh, bish'ol, engraved. Once we go to next world, when someone leaves this world, he's kind of off. All the fuses are off. All the lights are off. He cannot do anything over there. Bametim Chavshi. So before it's late, try to make it. Try to fix it. V'hainu bima shein ha'adam oseh ad she hakoach masur beyado mibor'o. That unfortunately, when we lose it, then we realize the real value, how important it is, or it was. Ki ma she'en ha'adam oseh ad she'hakoach masur beyado mibor'o hu hakoach ha'behiri hamasur lo kol yemei chayav. Hashem gave us a koach of freedom of choice, that we can decide. This ability is the power of free will that is given to him all the days of his life, during which he has free will and is commanded to act in the service of Hashem. Any koach power higher than this, that we have a full control over our decision. And if we want, once there is a will, there is a way. If we want, we could do it. Any decision, any power more than that, stronger than that. Shohu bahem bechiri umsuvel asod. Which that's not the case. Bakever, in the grave. We won't have any more opportunity to fix or to make up anything. הנה לא יוכל לעשותו עוד בקבר ובשאול, שאין הכוח הזה עוד בידו. Is like a person who has a light, has a candle, and is going in the desert at night. But as he comes, he gets into the lake. He has to pass the lake now. But you cannot swim with the light on, candle on in your hand. The minute you get to the water, the lights go off. And you cannot turn it on again. He doesn't have a man, nothing. He has just a lit candle, which is on. what should he do? So the Gemara is saying, listen, Ramcha is telling us, listen, until you have the candle on, before you get to the water that you lose your light, use it correctly. If you have to write something, if you want to eat something, because after this lake, there is no more light, because the water is going to put out the fire, put out the flame. This is what Ramcha is trying to teach us. Before we get to the next world, do anything you can do. Take advantage of this flame, which is free will, that you can control your decision. Because later on, he will not have this power in his hand. Because someone who did not increase ma'asim tovim, good deeds in his life, is impossible that he would be to do it after this world. Everything already is off. He will not have this free will over there in Shamayim. Someone who did not keep the count of his ma'asav, of his action, he was not aware of his action, he has no other chance to calculate or to review or to fix. And someone who was not smart enough in this world, he cannot be wise in grave. And this is what the Shalom HaMelech and Kohelet says. כי אין מעשה וחשבון ודעת וחוכמה בשאול אשר אתה הולך שמה. Because there is no action, calculation, mitzvah, da'at, chokhmah, anything. בשאול אשר אתה הולך שמה. In the grave that you go. Because you cannot have the flame on when you go to the water. So therefore, we see over here how important the zehirut is in our avodat Hashem and in our self-improvement. Because all it matters when and how and where we are doing it. Once the time passed, we lost the chance. We lost the boat. So the only way that we could have pokeach ivrim, to have our eyes open, in order to have matir asurim, in order to be free from any yetzer hara, the only way is to have zehirut, to check before we act, to be zahir. הערה לכל המון הנהו בעניין השכר והעונש, עצמם בראותם עומק הדין עד היכן המגיע. So the third level of people that they say, you know what? The only thing that motivates me is the sachar ve'onesh, punishment and reward. But the motivation for the general populace lies in the matter of the reward and punishment themselves that are given for the person good and bad deeds. For all people will be motivated to pursue good and flee from evil when they perceive how far the depth of the divine judgment reaches. So Ramchal wants to bring us few examples that we should not take Hashem judgment by lightly. Why? Because Hashem judgment goes very deep. Umi yistak lifne bor'o, and who will be kind of innocent before his creator. Hashem is so exact that no one really can be saved from his judgment. Ba'asher hashkafato meddakdeket al kol davar o gadol, whose inspection is meticulous regarding every matter, small or large. Up to so much. V'chen amru Rabbotenu zichron livracha umagid la'adam masiho seho, that in future, in Gan Eden or in heavenly court, they will remind the person and they will tell him what was his conversation or life. Afilu siha kala sheben ish leishto magidim lo la'avam bish'at hadin. Even a small conversation, kala, very simple, between husband and wife, they will tell him, reveal to him in Shamayim Bishat Hadin, at the time of his court. And this is what Ramchal tried to teach us, that listen, don't take life so lightly. Life is much deeper than that. Don't think Kasi nadid, kasi nashnid. No one saw, no one heard. Hashem ozen shomat, ain roa ozen shomat. And if I cannot motivate myself in a positive approach, then Ramchal says, at least motivate yourself in a negative approach, which means who knows how you're gonna answer in the court in Shamayim about all your actions. If Hashem is so exact about our deeds, as it says again in Yevamot, what it says in the Tehillim, Usvivav nis'ara me'od. He wants to teach us Sha'adosh Baruch Hu medaktek im hasidav kehut ha'sa'ara, that Hashem is so exact and medaktek, meticulous, with all his righteous people, Sadiqim, Hasidim, kehut ha'sa'ara, hairline, so even tiny, small thing. So we just finished one example of this zero down judgment of Hashem on Sadiqim, Abraham. Abraham, Abraham, he was the beloved one for his master, for Hashem. As we see, it says in Yeshaya, Abraham Ohavi, Abraham, my beloved one. But still, yet, lo palat min hadin mipnei devarim kalim shelo diktek bahem. Still, he was not exempt even from the tiny and little things which he said, and Hashem says, oh, you have to answer this. Even though he was his best servant, Eved, Ohavi, Al Shamar Bameda, since when Hashem was giving him the good news that your children are going to have this land, he says, Bameda, I'm gonna know. Oh, Hashem says, how you gonna know? I have a good way to prove it to you. I will make it that you will know and you won't forget. How? That your nation, your generation will be as a strange, as a slave in the far strange land. Al shekarat berit im Avimelech belo sivuyo shel makom. In the other case, when he made treaty, he made covenant, peace agreement with Avimelech without command or consulting Hashem, Hashem says, oh, you did that? By your life, I declare that I will delay the happiness of your children in their entry into the land of Eretz Israel for 7 generations. For 7 generations, Hashem prevented Am Israel to go to Eretz Israel, which were the children of Abraham. Why? Because Abraham made peace agreement with Avimelech, which he was not supposed to. He didn't ask Hashem. So we see from here, even Abraham Avinu, that Hashem had so much love for him. Abraham Ohavi. Hashem said, you know what? I think you did something which I did not agree. Now you are liable. You are accountable. You have to take care of it. You are getting consequence. So that's how Ramchal wants to really open our eyes that listen, don't think Hashem will forget. Hashem remembers. So before it's late, do something. And let's be aware of future as well. You don't want to put mistake on top of mistake. You don't want to add to it. So let's start to be zahir. Let's exercise zahirut, to be careful, and not just to be open to any idea, any suggestion, or any direction. Let's check it out before even you do or you touch anything, you say anything. Be careful. Have zahirut in your life. Not whenever you're angry, whatever you say is correct. Not whenever you are right, then you can do anything you want. You have to be careful that there are certain things which you may not realize now, but later on, you got to pay a big price. So this is what Ramchal, the first explanation of how to acquire Zahirut, talks about it. That unless we don't realize how important Zahirut is in life, we won't appreciate it. We don't acquire it. If I don't know this tool, screwdriver, for example, or certain range, if I don't know how is it work and how can I do with it, I won't appreciate it. But once I know this tool could really help me a lot, I will use it every minute. I keep it safe every day. Why? Because I know how useful it is. So therefore, it says, Ramkhan, you have to accept this fact that unless you are not careful, you cannot stay pure. You cannot stay in right direction. First, you have to be careful to know what is good and what is bad, and to be aware of all the stumbling in life. May Hashem help us, Bezrat Hashem, to keep all these ideas in mind and use it Bezrat Hashem day by day. Baruch Hashem Le'olam.